Today I'm going to talk about enthusiasm and having a sense of urgency. And here's the reason why. We live in a society where everyone these days, especially millennials, think and feel that they are entitled to everything. You see young people who feel that they deserve to be multimillionaires, or they deserve to run a successful business, or they deserve to have a fantastic job. And while they are busy feeling that they deserve all these things and scrolling through Instagram, commenting, oh, this is us, this is me in 10 years, this is me in 2 years, and mentally masturbating to mediocre quotes on social media, they are also hating what they do. They dislike their job, they don't like the fact that they're in school, they hate their major, and even if they're working at a job, they're already planning something that they're going to do next. Here's something very important to understand. How you do anything is how you do everything. And what that means is, if you want to be successful at something else in the future, if you want to run your own business or have a specific sort of job or have a different sort of project, you're going to have to learn to become enthusiastic about what you do right now. It doesn't matter whether you are a janitor, it doesn't matter whether you are a street sweeper, it doesn't matter whether it doesn't matter what you do, all right? I spent 11 years of my life in direct sales. And when I say direct sales, I'm not talking about multi-level marketing. I mean door-to-door sales, like knocking on doors and selling stuff. That is what I did for a living for 11 years, over a decade. And guys, I worked 60 to 80 hours a week selling Bibles door to door, all right? It's almost impossible to sell something like that. Oh, really, fool? People hear that and they're like, nah, you weren't a Bible salesman, you just, like bullshit. No, but that's really what I did. I made a living from it. The Bibles were over $100. They were fancy, amazing study Bibles. I still remember my entire sales talk. But here's the thing. Whatever job that you do is going to involve the same things. It involves long hours. It involves rejection. It involves failure. It involves boredom. It involves monotony. And you're gonna have to do this over and over and over and over, maybe for years. Sure, I hear in some places that, we live in a generation where jobs are dying and no one's gonna work a job for 30 years like our parents or grandparents did. I believe that, I understand that. But I think that has taken away from us truly appreciating what we have. And appreciating it means learning to get enthusiastic about it. I worked in door-to-door sales, right? I chose to do that. I consciously chose to do that because I believed that it was going to equip me in my 20s with a useful skill that never dies, that's been around forever, and that I would use in the future. So that's why I dedicated a decade of my life to becoming a student of sales and sales management and recruiting. That was my purpose. But it was hard. It was boring. It was full of rejection. There were so many summers. There were so many days where I would be 20, 30 rejections in, and I would just sit in my car and just cry. There were so many wasted hours. I can literally say, yeah, I worked for 10 years, but during those 10 years, to be absolutely honest, I spent a chunk of it feeling sorry for myself. The only difference between me and other people is that I'm very stubborn. I refuse to quit at anything that I do. So even though I hated it, I knew it was something I had to do for myself. I cared for myself. I love myself. I want to see myself in a specific place in the future, and this is what I had to do. But the only way I got through it and I got better was by learning two things. One was how to be enthusiastic about what I was doing and how to have a sense of urgency. Enthusiasm is so important. The reason why is if you can get enthusiastic about something, all right, if you can even fake enthusiasm,
you're killing it, Jane! Slay!
Eventually you're going to become enthusiastic. Action comes before motivation. There are a lot of people who are just like, I used to have a lot of salespeople when I was a manager who would be like, I'm not motivated to do this. Here's the thing, motivation is bullshit.
What a bunch of fucking bullshit.
I mean it's bullshit because it doesn't just come. You don't just wake up in the morning, read a book, look on Instagram and oh, this is motivating as fuck, and go out there and kill your day. That's not gonna sustain you through a 16 or 18-hour workday. You have to take action and make taking action a habit. But one more thing you need to learn and develop as a habit is the habit of enthusiasm and having a sense of urgency. A sense of urgency simply means that when you wake up in the morning and you have something to do, you feel that what you are doing is important and it has to be done within a certain amount of time. It's injecting relevance into your work. Maybe you are a website designer or a graphic designer. Maybe you don't like it that much. That's fine. Wake up in the morning and have a sense of urgency. The more time you spend browsing social media, wasting time with your breakfast, just chilling, your job doesn't take on any sort of relevance. So what needs to be done is you wake up in the morning, you have goals. You're like, what I'm doing today is important. This isn't easy to do, okay? This is a habit that has to be developed. And the easiest way to develop it is to give yourself a list of things to do, wake up early in the morning, and go at them quickly. You're like, okay, I need to finish this by this time, and this time, and this time. Several things happen when you do that. The first realization that will come to you is that it makes you appreciate your day better. It makes you realize that tomorrow's gone, and today is the only day that you have. I used to think when I was selling, I was like, you know what? I sentenced myself to selling door to door for a decade. So what was I gonna do? The only thing I could do was wake up in the morning and I would tell myself, you know what, JK? What if today was your last day? What if while driving back from having a pity party all day, knocking on 3 doors and not doing your job and dreaming of the day when you're going to be successful, what if you got hit by an 18-wheeler and that was it? What would be your last thought? Would it be like, oh shit, I didn't do the things I needed to do? I already knew what my biggest regret was going to be. My biggest regret would be that I didn't do the job that I was supposed to do that day to the best of my ability and become enthusiastic about it. Now, some of you might be watching this and you're like, nah man, that's bullshit. Like, you were doing something you didn't like, that's your fault. Well, how'd you get to doing something that you really want to do? You get there by learning to be enthusiastic about what you have now. Be grateful, be enthusiastic about it. How you do anything is how you do everything. So I rambled a little bit, but those are the 2 lessons for today. Learn how to develop enthusiasm and learn how to build a sense of urgency in everything that you're doing. If you want to add anything, you can drop a line in the comments. I'm out. Have a great day.